This is Terry Kurtz On-Line reporting on Victor Valley, High Desert, and Mojave River Valley events, activities, entertainment, sports, and history. Want to be an extra in the movies? Expect long hours and an early call time in work like this. We arrived at 7 o'clock this Sunday morning in anticipation of a 12-hour shoot. Locations are often remote, secluded, and hard to find.
Am I in the right area?
Still driving, and then I said,
Background talent, we're not called extras anymore, but talent come from all kinds of, well, backgrounds. Kimberly Harmon trains horses and is reigning four-time world champion cowgirl mounted shooter. A resident of Phelan, Kimberly, obviously, is feeling right at home horseback. She rides Flash in shooting competition under the name Calico Star. She's been doing film work for 5 years. You might also find her behind the counter at C's Candy Shop in the mall. You'll recognize her selling confection by her infectious smile. Like many in background talent, Kimberly possesses specialized skills that could be hugely beneficial in her quest for bigger roles. This aspiring screenwriter is a mime. He began film work in the early 90s in Los Angeles.
Yeah, like I said, I've been acting for 14 years and decided I needed a break, health-wise as well, and to help my wife with her business. She supported my dream for 14 years, and now I'm supporting her. She's a muralist and a faux finisher.
Greg's mime talents are readily recognizable. The Starbucks guy in sports commercials, Doritos, Travelers Insurance, children's network programming, but travel to LA no longer appeals to this Hesperia resident.
And I stayed with Cattle Call because it's local, it's easy, and I don't have to travel to LA, which I finally I've had it up to here with LA anymore.
It didn't take long for this Victorville mother of two to build up her resume.
I've been involved in Herbie and Journey from the Fall, an independent film, and CSI, the TV show, and it's been really fun.
Should locals feel Hollywood production folks find us naive or harder to work with? Just the opposite.
Oh no, we just cope with it. We are just normal people up here. Actually, they come from LA, they see our talent up here and see the people that they work with and are absolutely amazed because it's a different feeling from what they deal with in LA.
That's not just the local casting director's take. Take it from this veteran.
I find that most film crews can't stand actors in LA. But they've come out here, and I've heard people comment over and over how much they enjoy the locals.
Wardrobe and makeup, first stops for background talent, and aspects we look forward to.
No, this hat is not mine. They gave it to me. Wardrobe gives you stuff to wear, you know, if you don't want to wear it. It's all fun for fun, you know.
So you're really not handsome, that the wardrobe did that?
Yeah, wardrobe did that. I'm not really this handsome.
It's all about fun and enjoying the work.
The most I enjoy about doing movies and stuff is meeting the actors, seeing how movies are made, and just the atmosphere, you know. It's surreal being on a movie set. It's not like a regular job. It's different.
It's different, all right. I'll vouch for that. You can even sleep on the job and get paid for it. So what's it really all about?
You just have a lot of fun. I don't know. It's mostly an adventure more than a money scheme, you know?
Headlines and headline makers looking back to years past in High Desert and Mojave River Valley sports and entertainment history. From the entertainment archives, stuntmen take a SWAT team into action, then train actors in firearm safety on TV and movie projects filmed locally. A SWAT team in action. In reality, stuntmen in a scene from the cable network Extreme series. Sightings takes us behind the scenes involving stunts. This action in a warehouse on 395 in Adelanto. Many of these stuntmen are members of the longest standing gunfighting reenactment group in the Victor Valley, James Fuente's Santa Fe Drifters. They've been trained and drilled by Gary Robert, a 27-year veteran of the Hollywood stunt work scene since his days with Chips. Robert, a Navy SEAL, is one of the few certified firearms trainers available to Hollywood. His work reflects his drive as a perfectionist. These actions are realistic. The SWAT members' disciplined moves and precise procedures. That's not what's wanted on the next set. Robert took on the nearly impossible task
of grilling the cast of Backstreets of Heaven. Divine Gordon Asa is directing and producing this independent film, all shot around and in Barstow. Firearms training, triple-digit temperatures, minimum time. We're steeping in the heat of the Mojave at this shoot for the movie Backstreets of Heaven. Training deadly serious. This is all live ammunition. New York's Jacqueline Herod, the lone female assassin this day. Soul is the command to lower and cover your weapon, finger always off the trigger.
Which is exciting.
Divine Gordon Asa, director, producer, actor, gunman.
Very excited, man. That was very good. I mean, like that's the first time I actually ever fight a live round, you know. So that made me feel like, you know, first it's like you're releasing a lot, and I realized that it's not too hard. I mean, it's not too hard just to pull the trigger and cause some chaos.
Unlike blanks, live rounds reveal accuracy.
It also brought to me the realization that what we're doing here is really very serious.
Barstow's Amanda Harris stars in Backstreets of Heaven, which was renamed Blood Sun Town and released in 2013. It is now available on YouTube. Tales of the Frontier. Ghosts, the most ambitious project to date for director Tina Luciano and Law Dog Productions. Creative, original, intriguing, demanding.
Everybody wants to be a freaking director, I swear to God.
To a magnificent degree, unprecedented risks.
For the love of God.
You are completely surrounded.
See what I have to deal with? I love these guys.
I don't know, it's what?
Elaborate sets, constructed by First Assistant Director and Master Craftsman James A.E. Fuentes. Other actresses and actors, many first time with Law Dog Productions, echo factors attracting them to this series.
Well, I'm here today in Lucerne Valley filming with Law Dog Productions with my wife Lorene. It's kind of a family day, and we're just extras in a bank scene, but we're excited to be here. These folks are just wonderful. It's a very family Christian group, just like it. We have a blog, J&L Research Exploration, that we covered one of the episodes up in Crestline during the summer, and it was such a fun event, all-day event, that we decided to come and do work as extras. I didn't realize how much there was into a production. I mean, my goodness, this costume took 40 minutes to put on, and we're not done yet.
I had a wonderful opportunity to work with a very faith-oriented and family-oriented organization, and I couldn't pass up that opportunity.
Well, the experience has been very enjoyable. What first attracted me was the family values atmosphere. I had an opportunity 5 or 6 years ago to be in a film and a television series and a commercial. The film was with Jim Caviezel and some stars from Saving Private Ryan. I enjoyed it. This one has been very enjoyable, and with the nice atmosphere, the family surroundings, it's just been a real pleasant experience.
From Tina Luciano's Law Dog Productions, Tales of the Frontier. Family television entertainment. Adelanto cashes in at the free throw line and crashes Silverado's home court party with a methodical fourth quarter rally to win round 1 of 2 on the season between the Saints and Hawks for the inside track to the Desert Sky League Championship.
Yeah, we had to. They were up a whole game, so we had to come back and do what we had to do.
What we had to do was kick it up a notch, and that is exactly what Adelanto freshman Deshaun Gorey did the fourth quarter in helping the Saints overtake Silverado 56-50 in the showdown for first place in the Desert Sky League. Deshaun Gorey had pulled Adelanto within 4 on the final shot of the third quarter. Silverado held a 41-37 lead entering the fourth quarter. Silverado had led by as many as 9 early in the second half. Junior sharpshooter Andrew Quinones among the Hawks keeping the visiting Saints at bay throughout the first 3 quarters. The Hawks had led 28-22 at the half. Darian Johnson, the senior member of the leadership team, as in Saints' leading scorers, had given Adelanto their first lead since 2 minutes into the first quarter. The 5'11" point guard leads the Saints with 18 points on the night. This Deshaun Gorey dunk on the fast break assist from Darren Atkinson breaks a 43-43 deadlock and gives the Saints the lead for good. One of Deshaun Gorey's best plays is this touch pass assist to Kenyon Crittenden to open the scoring. First of 7 points for Kenyon Crittenden this night. Johanny Mormon responds with the three that puts the Hawks on the board and ahead. Johanny Mormon, a senior, will score 9. Kenny Crittenden's second basket is an even better
Terry
demonstration
Kurtz
of the
here,
16
throwing us an
sophomore's
invitation for
athleticism.
you to catch
Like a
up
wide
with
receiver
High
going over
Desert
the middle, he
Sports
catches the
Activity.
pass
Your
in the crowd,
High Desert
takes a
Sports
pounding,
Report
yet
showing
still
3
scores.
times every
Adelanto
day on
regains
Victor
the
Lane
lead,
TV.
4-3.
7 and 11 every
Jaden
morning,
Richards'
4
blocked
every
shot goes right to
afternoon.
Ivory Perrault, and the Hawks go up 5-4. A sophomore, Ivory Perrault, scores 7 this game.
High Desert Sports Report.
Jeremiah Washington's full-court assist to Johanny Mormon furthers a Silverado sports precedes the Hawks. Victor Valley College the visitors 9-4 the remainder of the first quarter. Good time to interject these coaches' remarks about how tough it was getting their team ready to hit the ground running amid the convoluted COVID calamity.
Well, first of all, this hurts preparation-wise. I mean, we're at Silverado. We make sure we follow everything by the book. Where it's really hard to get. We couldn't get in the gym at all, almost a whole year. On top of that, we were outside all the time with these high desert winds at 3 o'clock. I mean, it was blowing big time, but the guys were out there working hard.
Well, the main hardship's been uncertainty. A lot of my seniors didn't play because they didn't know if we were going to have a season or not. County guidelines changing all the time.
They were in the dark, which a lot of people were in the dark, and a lot of things seen going on with the world. I didn't really think that they thought there was a season.
So just kind of keeping kids motivated, lack of time to even work out on campus.
For these teams to perform as well as they did is a tribute to their coaches and to the team leaders, discharging their duties at midseason form in a game critical to the entire season's success. Hawks junior Elijah Williams with back-to-back baskets here. Silverado leads by as many as 9 points in the second quarter, en route to their 28-22 halftime advantage. Elijah Williams will lead Hawks scorers this game with 12. Jeremiah Washington up court to Marcus Chorwiak, who assists Michael Lacey for the final points of the first half. Michael Lacey, a senior, will finish with 7. The Hawks get off to a good enough start the second half, building their lead back up to 9 points near the end of the third quarter. Andrew Quinones drives into the paint and gets the shot to fall for 2 of his 11 points on the night. The Hawks playing aggressive defense, running the court, hitting the boards. Elijah Williams stays at it for 2 of those team-high 12. The Hawks junior will score 3 straight baskets, in fact, powering the third quarter surge that makes it look like the home team might run away with the game. Michael Lacey's basket on the Ivory Perrault assist, and Silverado's lead is back up to 9, 41-32, with just under 2 minutes to go in quarter number 3. But foul trouble, which plagued the Hawks all night, and Adelanto stepping it up on defense, allow the Saints to begin working their way back into it. And it is right at this time that the 6'5" Deshaun Gorey really begins asserting himself. This Deshaun Gorey dunk on the fast break assist from Darren Atkinson breaks a 43-43 deadlock and gives the Saints the lead for good. For the freshman standout, 12 points, 10 in the second half. The offense obviously puts the game away, but there is no question what made the difference in the ball game.
We locked up on defense. We didn't have in the first half, but we had in the second half on locked up defense.
What do you think made the difference in this ball game tonight?
Our second half defense, we came out fighting and more aggressive in the first half.
These teams meet again Friday, May 14th in Adelanto. The Saints' sights set on a three-peat.
The Graham family has been cattle ranchers for more than 5 generations. Christy Graham has been raising cattle for more than 25 years. The Graham family's mission is to provide individuals with the power to promote positive social change in the way beef is raised.
Everything that we deal or see today is important in that circle of life, whether it's a weed or whether it's a luscious plant. They all have equal value in what we do.
Equally important as vegetation, the water. The headwaters to the Mojave River flow through this ranch, and the water leaves in pristine condition.
For the chloroforms and everything in it, they call it pristine water. When you think of a waterway leaving a ranch, you would expect to see some discoloration. You would expect to see something here other than just absolutely crystal clear, beautiful water leaving a ranch. But if you do it right, that's what you get. And that's what I talk about, that it is so important that we do what we do for the water. This water is going to be drinking by every school kid, by everybody that is downstream from us. And this is the very beginning, because our water runs inland and runs north instead of to the ocean. So this water is going to be used from, like I said, from here to Death Valley. And what you're going to see is this water is going to come out of this canal. It'll run down here, and it's actually there's a couple little streams that it can go down, but for the most part it is what we call sub-irrigating. So it's leaching out of there, it's traveling through the root base of those plants, and we're going to regather the water down here again, and then we'll send it back out again.
The Grahams keep true to the roots of the land, never using herbicides or fertilizers or machinery. Everything is done on horseback or on foot. The beef you buy from true pasture beef are cattle that the Graham family has raised for the cow's entire life. The grass the cattle eat is what grows naturally. There is no odor stockyards here. Bacteria has been reduced to where there is less in manure than in vegetation.
This is a piece of cow manure that has hit the ground. You're going to look around, you're going to see a lot of this. It's right next to where, when it rains, it can run into the water, okay? Now, every bit of this plant life, as you can see underneath this tree, underneath this bush, this is all bacteria, okay? This is all mildewed, that is bacteria, and this bacteria will end up in that creek. There's bacteria in this that will end up in that creek. If you took this for pound per pound, and this for pound in the same condition, meaning in the same degradable condition, that's a little further degraded than this is at this point. The bacteria count would be less here than it is there. Why that is because this animal, when we fed this animal, we did not bring any grains, we did not bring any supplements in. All the animal ate was what was here, okay? And this is eventually going to die and end up in a waterway. Once it eats it, it takes the energy out of it to live. So when it has this come out, this has less energy to feed bacteria than it did if the plant just died by itself. So the cow, it's easier, this is less pollutant than the bush is by itself, because the cow is taking the energy out of that. Now this was a really hard thing to get people to understand, because when we think of cow manure, we think of Chino Valley and we think of all the pollutants it's caused down there. It wasn't the cow manure. A cow is only what it is fed, okay? So if you feed it high nitrate feeds, high carbon feeds that have a lot of GMOs in it, that don't break down the way that we typically stuff breaks down, and you do that for years, you create a huge pollution bank. Consequently, this is not, it's not two of the same things. So this is actually cleaner than that would be, and we wouldn't think anything of eating a piece of this dried off bush, and yet this will have less bacteria than this would have. If you'll look around, this brush brings a lot of things to us. One thing is if we're in a dry year, if the cattle need to, or if we're in an exceptionally cold year, or if we have some snow, the cattle will eat that brush, the green spots on that brush, and it's very good feed. In fact of the matter, if they eat it for about 30 days, it'll give the meat a really unique flavoring to it. And that's why our meat will never taste the same
every time you get it. It will depend on the year, it will depend on the time of the year, of what the animal's been eating. And so it's not like going to the grocery store where every animal is fed the same ration and every steak will taste the same. That is why all of our meat will always have a slightly different flavor, taste, even to some extent a smell to it. Mother Nature is one of the coolest things in the world if you just have the patience to allow it to work. You know, the hardest thing we have is learning how to develop our patience and allowing this to happen at its right speed, at the right time, and let the circle of life do what it's supposed to do.
Earl Graham had to persuade the powers that be to be patient when it came to his insistence to not use pesticides or herbicides.
That is called a thistle. They're just a nasty plant. So when I first took over this ranch, it was covered in those, absolutely covered. You couldn't not ride your horse through for it getting poked by all of those thistles. And the county agency told me, they said, if you're going to be responsible for that property, we're going to mandate that you do some spraying for that thistle. And I said to the guys, I said, look, if we spray and we find that spray in our water, they're going to shut this whole operation down. It'll never get to beef. So they agreed that we could do that.
Folks taking the tour learn about ranchland management as well as true pasture beef.
Yeah, I just think it's amazing. You know, they say there's acres of diamonds in your own backyard. I had no idea that there was such a forward-thinking grass-fed cattle ranch. You know, I think it's so important to be able to have access to quality food, to care about what's going in your body, and to know that there's somebody doing it right.
For me especially, a lot of this was new and learning a lot of new stuff about raising cattle and this farm. But I guess the most interesting thing for me was Earl himself has just an amazing amount of wisdom about raising cattle and the business and farming.
Yeah, I think for me it was understanding how much really goes into one cow. I mean, it's everything from what's growing on the ground to the water to what's in the air.
Just everything. He was very informative. He gave us a lot of information on the conservation of the land, you know, how everything affected the water in our area, the land, the grass, how if you leave Mother Nature alone and don't pollute, everything seems to be able to take care of itself.
Earl Graham follows the formula of another longtime rancher when it comes to the bottom line versus the circle of life.
He'd oftentimes tell me, he'd say, take the money out of it and see if it makes sense. Remove the money portion of it and see if it makes sense. And I started applying that. Take the money out of it and let's see what makes sense when we manage land. Pull the money out. Money is not what we're after. What we're after is managing the land. Now, if I can recuperate some money by managing this land properly, all the better. The first job is learn how to manage the land.
It was all new to me because I didn't realize this ranch was here until I started looking for organic beef. And to find it in this area, it was a surprise to me.
Earl and Rhonda Graham ride herd over their homegrown, free-range, grass-fed and grass-finished beef on horseback. The presence of vehicles make cattle uneasy. The temperament of true pasture beef cattle is paramount.
We don't use vehicles, we use horses when we check our livestock because we don't want to damage the ground and we don't want to excite our animals. It will affect the beef, okay? So we got to have them, and it's a fine line because I can't have them to where you can walk out here and pet them. I'd have every weirdo in the world wanting to walk out and pet the cows, okay? And they have to be aggressive enough that if something wants to mess with their calf, they're a mother and not going to allow that to happen. So it's a fine line in there. If they're too docile, we can't have them. If they're too rambunctious, we can't have them. The other thing that I find unique is when they're full and they're happiest is when they all congregate back together. And it's made me realize that us humans do the same thing. When we're happy and we're full, we decide we got to congregate. We either all got to show up at the resort at the same time of the year. We got to go to a campground where everybody else is camping. We got to go somewhere, whether it's the beach or whatever. And animals do the same thing. The second they're full and they want their they want their time out from working and gathering their food, they all congregate and come together. Now, The desert portion of this ranch is so important to us because it's what gives us the year-round feed. When the rest of the ranch in the winter, when everything goes dormant, the desert comes alive. And the cattle get to eat, move to the desert, and they get to spend their time over here in the desert portion of the ranch. And then as spring comes on, they migrate. And so there's no reason to have cross fencing and all of that kind of stuff. If you have enough room and you run your cattle properly, you don't have to have that.
True pasture beef cattle live in one of two locations, either central or southern California. The ranches total over 5,000 acres.
If I could pick just one thing, just the fact that it's here, and you know, I live in Hesperia, so just I didn't even know it was here. So it was great to see that information getting out there, so you know that more people can have access to quality food. You know, I think it's important. So
the Graham family's mission is to provide individuals with the power to promote positive social change in the way beef is raised, giving you the opportunity to buy environmentally sustainable and locally raised beef.
Joseph W. Brady offers a $5,000 reward for arrest and conviction of whoever stole mail from his Victorville post office box.
But for those that have not heard this, our post office box has been broken into 4 times since June of last year, including February of this year, okay? I'm not the only one that it wasn't necessarily targeted towards me, but we believe that twice of the times that it happened, the postmaster might have been out of town. So a couple of these, one of them they believe happened during broad daylight. So I'm going to sweeten the pie to figure this thing out. My wife and I, Deborah K. Brady, will offer a reward of $5,000. It's pretty simple. They got to be arrested, they've got to be convicted, and they've got to be given time. And it's got to be for my mail in my P.O. box. P.O. box easy to find. And you know what? I think for $5,000, you're going to see some people roll over on people. Because you know what? And not only did I get it, we apparently had a bunch of boxes about the same time in February broken into at Spring Valley Lake. So this is an ongoing problem. What I think, Terry, is despicable, okay, is that we only have 4 people in the Inland Empire. According to one of the postal inspectors I talked to back in August, we only have 4 postal people that are trying to catch the bad guys working in the entire Inland Empire.
Doesn't the Victorville post office have cameras?
Terry, they do, and they have some imagery. I'll just say this, that they're probably putting in cameras that will never be seen by anybody. And they might be in places that they would never even think about. Okay, so I encourage anybody that if you know who it is, Terry will put my cell number up there, text me, because I'm not answering any numbers that I don't have in my phone, and my email. And if the person is arrested, convicted, and found to have taken our mail, and I know Sheriff John McMahon is trying desperately to be sure things like this don't happen to me and everybody else. There is absolutely no excuse for it. But I have a feeling that the next time these people come back, they might be in for a really big surprise. And you never know where it's going to be. But they've been pretty good about assuring me of, and we've talked about some ideas. I'm not going to get in the postal security business, but it's just sad. I mean, it's just sad. So.
Terry Kurtz here, throwing out an invitation for you to catch up with High Desert Sports Activities, your High Desert Sports Report, showing 3 times every day on Victor Valley TV, 7 and 11 every morning, 4 every afternoon.
What time is it, sports fans? It's time for your High Desert Sports Report!
Your half-hour High Desert Sports Report, the area's only video action highlights coverage of high school athletes, teams, and sports programs, Victor Valley College Rams, and Barstow College Vikings athletic events. We hope you'll join us right here on Victor Valley TV. Terry Kurtz On-Line was brought to you by Down Home Grill in Victorville on the corner of Bear Valley Road and Ridgecrest Road. Bid fast and last, sold on supporting high desert sports. Midway Home Solutions in Victorville. Deagle and Don always has discount prices on appliances, mattresses, home furnishings, and electronics. Valu Quality Truck Body. Family owned and operated since 1954. The Bradco Companies, our area's longest standing full service commercial brokerage firm. Iwanzak Law Firm, trial lawyers for serious problems. And by the Community Table Restaurant in the Holiday Inn in Victorville. The Holiday Inn, favored destination for travelers and visitors to the Victor Valley. Hope you can be with us next time on Terry Kurtz On-Line. Thanks for watching.